Hello, everybody! I'm so glad you're joining me today for a journey into the world of books, movies, and a little bit of literary intrigue. Today, we're diving into a story about secrets, creativity, and one of the world's most famous writers, a tale that's as fascinating behind the scenes as it is on the page. There's a brand new movie coming out based on the book The Long Walk, a gripping, unforgettable tale that's haunted readers for decades and is now set to captivate audiences on the big screen. The story follows 100 teenage boys who are forced to walk without stopping or face elimination. It's a chilling competition where every step could be their last, and the stakes couldn't be higher. It's a raw, powerful look at survival, friendship, and the limits of human endurance, showing us what people are willing to do when pushed to the edge. The Long Walk is legendary among fans of suspense and dystopian fiction, often whispered about in book clubs and online forums as a must-read for anyone who loves a good thrill. Most people connect it instantly to Stephen King, the master of unforgettable, chilling stories that keep us up at night and make us think twice about the world around us. For years, readers have shelved The Long Walk right next to King's classics like The Shining and It, considering it an essential part of his early groundbreaking work. It fits perfectly with his imaginative, daring stories from the start of his career, tales that challenged and thrilled readers everywhere. But what if I told you there's a secret behind this book? Something hidden in plain sight that even devoted fans might have missed. For a long time, the world had no idea Stephen King actually wrote The Long Walk. The truth was carefully hidden, adding an extra layer of mystery to the novel's legacy. When it first appeared, it didn't have his name on the cover. Readers were left guessing, and the real author's identity was a well-kept secret. Instead, it was credited to someone else, a man who didn't even exist. So, who was this mysterious author? Let's unravel the mystery together and discover the fascinating story behind The Long Walk. That's right. The original author listed on The Long Walk was Richard Bachman, not Stephen King. For years, readers picked up this haunting novel and saw only the name Bachman on the cover, never suspecting the true mastermind behind the story. The name Richard Bachman seemed to come out of nowhere, adding an extra layer of mystery to an already chilling tale. When it hit shelves in 1979, readers had no clue King was behind it. The book quietly joined the ranks of other new releases, with no fanfare or hint that a best-selling author was hiding in plain sight. Bookstores stocked it alongside other debut novels, and curious readers took a chance on this unknown writer. Imagine picking up a book by a mysterious new author, only to discover years later it was your favorite writer all along. For many fans, it was like uncovering a secret message meant just for them, a literary Easter egg hidden in the stacks. Bachman's style was darker, more cynical, but eerily similar to King's. The stories were grittier, the endings more ambiguous, and the tone just a bit colder. Yet, for those who paid close attention, there was something familiar lurking beneath the surface, a voice they'd heard before but couldn't quite place. For a while, Bachman had his own career, his own voice, and even his own fans. Some readers became devoted followers of Bachman, collecting his books and speculating about his background. He was a literary enigma, and that only made his work more intriguing. King was already a superstar, so the idea that he was also this unknown writer was mind-blowing. It was almost unthinkable that someone so famous could keep such a big secret, especially in the world of publishing, where every new book is scrutinized. The secret was hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice. There were subtle clues, similar themes, familiar turns of phrase, but nothing concrete. It was a puzzle that only the most dedicated readers could hope to solve. When the truth came out, it shocked the literary world. The revelation made headlines, and fans everywhere scrambled to get their hands on Bachman's books, eager to see what they'd missed. Fans realized they'd been following one man with two identities. It was as if a magician had revealed his greatest trick, and suddenly, everything made sense. Suddenly, The Long Walk became a lost Stephen King novel. Collectors and fans rushed to find original Bachman editions, which quickly became prized possessions. The revelation changed how everyone saw the books and made the story of Richard Bachman as fascinating as any King thriller. Readers debated the differences and similarities, and the line between King and Bachman blurred forever. It was a twist worthy of King himself. The master of suspense had pulled off a real-life plot twist, and the world was hooked. The world would never look at those books the same way again. Every Bachman novel became a piece of literary history, a testament to King's creativity and his desire to challenge both himself and his readers. The secret was out, and it was bigger than anyone imagined. It changed the way people thought about pen names, about fame, and about the power of storytelling itself. But who was Richard Bachman, really? Was he just a mask or something more? A shadowy alter ego that allowed King to explore the darkest corners of his imagination? So, who was Richard Bachman? He wasn't just a name. King gave him a whole invented life. Bachman was a supposed chicken farmer from rural New Hampshire, writing at night after long days on the farm. He had a fictional family, a tragic backstory, and a reclusive personality. King even used a real person's photo, his agent's insurance man, as Bachman's author photo. Every detail made Bachman seem real, separate from King. Bachman was King's opposite, a recluse with stories that were bleaker and more cynical. While King's books often had hope, Bachman stared into the abyss. Bachman was King's creative escape, a way to write stories that didn't fit the Stephen King brand. He was the shadow self, the dark twin. The persona was so convincing even industry insiders were fooled. Bachman let King explore new territory free from expectations. The experiment worked until the truth came out. But why did King go to such lengths? Why did Stephen King create a secret identity? The answer is surprisingly practical. By the late 1970s, King was writing faster than publishers wanted to release his books. Back then, publishers believed one book per year was enough for any author. King disagreed. He had stories piling up, ready to be told. So, he invented a pen name to get more of his work out there. It was also a test. Could his book succeed without the King brand? The name Richard Bachman was born in a flash. Richard from a book on his desk. Bachman from a song playing in the background. Suddenly, King had a new identity and a way to bypass industry rules. Bachman's books hit the shelves and the experiment began. Readers had no idea they were reading King's hidden work. The plan was clever, bold, and almost worked perfectly. It was a creative solution to a creative problem. But the Bachman books were more than just a publishing trick. They revealed a whole new side of King's talent. As Richard Bachman, King published novels that were grittier and more pessimistic than his mainstream work. The monsters in these stories were people, not the supernatural. Rage, The Long Walk, Roadwork, and The Running Man formed the core of the Bachman identity. Each book explored the darkness within ordinary lives and the pressures of society. The Long Walk, now a movie, is pure Bachman. No ghosts, just psychological and physical horror. The Running Man, written in a week, became a cult classic and a very different movie. These books let King tackle themes that didn't fit his usual brand. They were raw, angry, and deeply personal. Bachman's stories didn't blink at the abyss. They stared right into it. They proved King's talent went far beyond horror. Of all the Bachman books, Rage stands out for its dark legacy. King wrote it as a teenager. It tells of a troubled student who takes his class hostage. For years, it was just another Bachman novel, until real-life tragedies changed everything. The book was found among several school shooters' possessions. Horrified, King felt a moral responsibility. He decided the potential for harm outweighed the book's value. In the late 1990s, he asked his publisher to let Rage go out of print. It's no longer available as a standalone or in new Bachman collections. King has no regrets. He believes it was the right thing to do. The story of Rage is a sobering reminder of the power of words. Sometimes, an author's responsibility goes beyond the page. King's decision showed real conscience. It marked the end of Rage, but not the end of the Bachman story. For 7 years, the secret of Richard Bachman held strong. But it wasn't a journalist who cracked the case. It was a sharp-eyed bookstore clerk named Stephen Brown. Brown noticed Bachman's writing felt just like King's. Driven by curiosity, he dug deeper, searching copyright records at the Library of Congress. There, he found proof. Stephen King was the real author. Instead of going public, Brown wrote to King's agent asking what to do. King responded personally, congratulating Brown and confirming the secret. He even gave Brown an exclusive interview to break the story. The reveal was handled with class, turning a potential scandal into a legendary tale. Fans were stunned, and the literary world buzzed with excitement. The secret was out, and the Bachman experiment was over. But the story didn't end there. Bachman became part of King's legend. The truth only made the books more intriguing. After the reveal in 1985, Richard Bachman was dead. King joked he'd died of cancer of the pseudonym. The next Bachman book, Misery, was released under King's real name and became a massive hit, but Bachman didn't vanish completely. King released the Bachman Books collection, sharing the full story with fans. He even revived Bachman for later novels like The Regulators and Blaze. Bachman became a permanent part of King's mythos. The experiment proved King's success wasn't just about his name, it was about his storytelling power. The Bachman books are now a beloved part of his legacy. Sometimes one name just isn't enough for all the stories inside a writer. And for King, the Bachman years were proof of his creative range. The story of Stephen King and Richard Bachman is about more than a secret identity. It's about creativity, freedom, and the courage to reinvent oneself. When King adopted the Bachman name, he wasn't just hiding. He was exploring what it meant to be a writer without the weight of fame or expectation. This experiment allowed him to test his own limits and see if his stories could stand on their own, without the power of his well-known name attached. Authors use pen names for many reasons: to write more, to try new genres, or to escape expectations. Sometimes it's about starting fresh, or even about writing stories that might not fit their usual style. A new name can be a blank slate, a chance to experiment and grow. J.K. Rowling, for example, writes crime novels as Robert Galbraith. This allowed her to step outside the shadow of Harry Potter and see how her work would be received on its own merits, without the expectations that come with her famous name. A pen name can be a mask, giving writers courage to take risks. It lets them explore new voices, new worlds, and even new parts of themselves that might otherwise remain hidden. For readers, discovering a favorite author's alter ego is like finding a hidden room in a familiar house. It's a thrill, a secret passage that leads to new adventures and unexpected stories. It makes us reread, searching for clues and connections. We wonder what hints we missed, what secrets were hidden in plain sight, and how the author's voice changes behind a different name. The Bachman experiment showed that great stories stand on their own, no matter the name on the cover. Readers connect with characters and worlds, not just the signature on the title page. King proved his talent was real. His stories connected with readers, famous name or not. The emotional impact, the suspense, and the imagination were all there, regardless of who was credited. Behind every book is a universe of ideas, sometimes too many for just one name. Writers are dreamers, and sometimes they need more than one identity to bring all their stories to life. The Long Walk and the Bachman books celebrate the power of storytelling. They remind us that stories can break boundaries, cross genres, and surprise us in ways we never expected. They remind us that creativity can't be contained. It spills over, finds new forms, and sometimes needs a new name to flourish. Sometimes a secret identity is just what a writer needs to set their imagination free. It's a tool, a shield, and a key to unlock new stories. And that's a story worth telling, because behind every name, there's a storyteller with a world to share.